All right, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Wisdom. All apps are active and live right now. We are going to start the live recording of the Mark G Show, where we will be able to bring in our listeners and viewers into the show via the new phone number that we have. Everybody, feel free if you want to come into the show at 207 209 1888. I ask that you hold off on all phone calls until after the intro. And then feel free to call into the show and have a good discussion with us. We got a pretty good little discussion for everybody today actually events have happened to me throughout this week, which is quite interesting. We'll be talking about those. Let's get into it real quick. I'm going to hit the record button on my lovely device so I don't forget. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, before I even start recording, I I hit the record button last week when we recorded the show. What I did not do is end the record button. I woke up in the morning, got the kids ready for school, and I looked over and I saw the record button still blinking red. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I go in there and hit stop, dude. Let me tell you, I already hate editing audio. When I had to go back and cut out all that audio feed, it was horrible. Also, before I hit the record button over here and do my little speech and then do our intro, for everybody that's tuning in today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch and Wisdom, please know that you will hear different audios coming from my cell phone. Unfortunately, I can't control that. If I want to be able to take in these phone calls, this is the way it works. I can let you know that at the end of things, when the actual show is over with, when I upload to Apple and Spotify and so forth, they do not hear the sounds my phone rings. Unfortunately, you guys as live viewers do hear every little bit of sound. My apologies for that. But I guess it's kind of funny when you hear the minions going off on my phone with a text message. As we learned last week, Gary was trying to hold back laughter when it happened. Let's go ahead and get the show started. I'm going to hit the record button after I get a drink here. Going live on the record in 3, 2, 1. The world is in turmoil. We got the Biden administration. Hell, even some Republicans that are turning Americans against Americans. It's getting worse and worse by each day. People being confronted inside grocery stores, out on the streets, social media, and even tearing families apart. So we're going to talk about all that right here on the Mark G Show. Stay tuned.
A lot of podcasts these days. Tippy toe around everybody's little feelings. The little snowflakes are fragile. But you won't get any of that crap here. Welcome to the Mark G Show. From political issues to cultural issues to current events and everything in between, we're talking about it. And we talk about it how we want, melting the little snowflakes. This is the Mark G Show, and this is Mark G.
What is going on, Mark G Show? Good Lord, it's another feeling good day live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and now a fantastic app that we found called Wisdom. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live recording this as you're listening to it on your Apple and Spotify while during your drive to work, I'm hoping. I've got my brother Gary, as always, my co-host, or he should just be another host. He shouldn't even be a co-host anymore. He's another host. We got to get his name up here some point. Gary, what's going on, my brother?
Oh, we're here, brother. We're here. We're doing it. So
we're living the nightmare.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Nightmares are dreams. So however you want to frame it, you know, are we living the American dream right now?
I wouldn't say we are living the American dream right now. I would say we're living the China dream for Joe Biden's America dream.
So real quick, hold on, real fucking quick. So is it true? I don't know if this is even real. I heard that someone like got banned from their bank or got like, I'm not talking about Yeezy or something like that. Like, did someone like lose access to their money here in America for saying some shit that went against?
Yeah, so he got canceled. I wish I could remember him. People call him a chauvinistic pig. I really wish I can't remember. He was a big internet sensation. He was on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. He was actually on every social media platform, TikTok. And they went out and canceled. It wasn't that per se that the government suspended his bank accounts. But what they did was the bank said, we no longer want to do business with you. You have X amount of time to get your money out of the bank. So the bank canceled them out. Pretty much like they did with the rapper there. I'm trying to think of his name right there. The one that wore a White Lives Matter
Yeah,
sweatshirt.
easy,
Pretty-
easy.
yeah, the same thing they did with him.
Yeah.
So it's just it's fucked up. And like you were saying, though, if you really think about, are we living in communist China already, or are we?
Kanye West.
Yeah, Kanye West.
Yeah, so like that's the question. Like, are we there right now? Are we already there? Like, I thought we had a little more time to go before we hit this level of, I guess, censorship, or it's censorship. Is that censorship, or what what is that?
I mean, we call it cancel culture right now, but I mean, you can call it a form of control, man. You really think about it. If you got banks sitting there telling you, listen, we don't like the way you're talking or what you're promoting, that we don't want your business here anymore, take your money out. That's controlling somebody in a form. It is censorship. It is cancellation. It's ridiculous is what it is.
Yeah.
And we're,
I agree.
and unfortunately, this is all stemming from right now. I am going to say mostly the Democratic Party, but there are some Republicans to blame as well. I'm not going to sit there and blame just one side party, because after all, as I'm sitting here watching everything that's going on, I'm saying both parties are at fault for what we're seeing right now.
100%.
Because
Totally.
so, but you know what I'm saying, that is, let's put it this way, as everybody knows, and you can quite tell from all my videos from social media stuff like that. Oh shit, we got 9 comments on social media already. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? I see you over there. Appreciate everybody over on the social media. Sorry about that, anime artist boy. I see y'all, Madison. But yeah, so as I want to talk about this, so everybody knows where I stand politically. Obviously, my mother does not fully know where I stand politically, and I'm going to talk about my mother. I love her to death, but we're going to talk. We're going to talk about how I think my mother's gone stir crazy from watching mainstream media and listening to everything and believing everything that Joe Biden is spitting out of his mouth and everything the mainstream media is spitting out of their mouths. Number one, when Trump ran for the first time ever, did I vote for him? Yes, because I truly wanted to see what he could do. Did I like some of his policies? Yes, I think some of his policies are great. I also think that we did not get fucked with by other countries because they were scared. They're like, holy shit, this guy's a loose cannon. We don't want to fuck with America right now because we honestly don't know what he'll do, right? And they were scared of it. That's why we didn't see any conflicts. Well, we had, conflicts across seas from other countries. We've got conflict here in our soil, but that's why we didn't see any conflicts over there, because they didn't want to mess with the loose cannon president. They didn't want to see, him take action. And if they did fuck up, he did take action. Look at the people, the places he did authorize bombings at. Go for it. You want to say something?
No, it's good. No.
Okay. All right. So then during the second term, we had a choice: Biden or Trump. Yeah, I'm going to go for Trump because, number one, Biden can't speak. I mean, Biden and Fetterman would make a great couple for running for 2024. I mean, it's a fucking no-brainer. But let's go ahead and talk about, when we come up to 2024, do I want to see Trump run again? Not really. I'd much rather see DeSantis. Yeah, Trump did make DeSantis, but I would much rather see DeSantis run. I'm watching what he's doing down in Florida right now, and I'm loving seeing what DeSantis is doing. I would love to see him run as a president. I would much rather have a different Republican to go for. Now, with all that being said, let me get into why I'm saying all this right off the bat. I was at a grocery store, as I already called and told you about this beforehand. I was wearing my favorite shirt that I love right now. It says FJB, Let's Go Brandon. Great sweatshirt. Looks nice. It was made by a guy, a veteran. And I love the sweatshirt. I wore it proudly. It's my way of protesting. I would say wearing a t-shirt. Let me ask everybody out there right now that's listening. Wearing a t-shirt is a great way of silent protesting, right? It's words on a shirt. It's your form of protesting. I found it a great way of protesting. So I was out grocery shopping. This older gentleman who was about another lane over from me, we were checking out. He was at another checkout lane. He looked at me from across the lane and goes, "What's FJB stand for?" And I looked around, see if there's children. There were kids at the grocery store, and there was a kid right behind me in checkout with his father. And I was like, "Sir, I'd much rather not say that out loud. After I said that, he instantly got all pissy and goes, well, it stands for fuck Joe Biden and you should take it off. No, sir, I'm not taking it off. This is my way of protesting. And then I did say, and I did get a kind of a bad looks at the point when I said this, but I said, sir, at least I'm not out there burning down buildings, beating people up in the streets, throwing old ladies down in the freaking Amtraks and stuff like that. I am peacefully protesting wearing a shirt. How can a shirt offend somebody so bad? And I've thought about it. You know, one way that you put it is maybe, you know, he's being a little patriotic. He's standing up for his president, right? But at the same point, I thought to myself, how could this be happening? And then it dawned on me. Look at everything that we're seeing in the media right now. Now, also look at everything that Joe Biden is saying as far as everybody who speaks against this administration. It doesn't matter who you are. You can even be a Democrat and you don't like Joe Biden and you speak against them. You're automatically labeled ultra MAGA or supreme MAGA. I don't know what the hell it is, but you're deemed this big MAGA person and you're deemed a domestic terrorist. It's absolutely bullshit. It's absolutely asinine because you have a different opinion than this administration and you speak your voice and let people know that I do not agree with them. I do not like them. All of a sudden you're a bad guy. Make that make sense to me. Anybody feel free. Like if you guys can try to convince me that I am a bad guy because I don't like Joe Biden and I wear a shirt that says FJB, please feel free to call into the show and let me know. I'm not sure if I have any Democrats or anybody's heavy into Biden. Let me know. 207-209-1888. I would love to hear you. I mean, I'm going to talk about my mother too here as we go further on, but I know my brother's like, he's been waiting to spit something out of his mouth over here. So I'm going to let him while I try getting this piece of hair that got blown in my tongue. So.
No, you're right. I mean, that was a point that I did make earlier about that guy that, you know, maybe he's just patriotic, right? So as much as he disagrees with you and you disagree with him, that's the beauty of being an American. You can have those differences. You can live here peacefully and you can hopefully learn again how to live amongst people who have different beliefs than you. And I think we've forgotten how to do that as a people, right? Like, I mean, if you go back to when we were kids, like 30, 40 years ago, like people were still, you know, were Republican or Democrat. But like nobody was so riled up to the point where it was like they're going to fucking not let another family member show up for the holidays, like completely disown people in their family. Like it's the language that's being used right now. Like I wish I took a screenshot of it so I could remember the wordage that they used, but it was like somebody was talking about who did they vote for in California, right? And they're like, and the comment was something along the lines of like, well, obviously somebody that cares about like people and integrity or something like that. And I'm just like, so you would rather use those words than understand basic economics and like how economies work. And like America's a pretty big economy and we need to like, you know, think a little bit more about like how can we stay a fucking country instead of your feelings being hurt. And it's the language that's being used. I'm not saying like, oh, like your words hurt me. It's that the words that they're using are very specific and they're manipulative and they make it in such a way that if you disagree with them, you are inherently a bad person. And that's just not the reality of being human and living in a country with, you know, hundreds of millions of people.
I mean, don't you remember back in the day when you were told, you know, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all?
Yeah.
I mean, those days are out the window. But at the same time, let's rewind back to the last election prior to midterms when Biden was elected. One of his campaigns was to unite us. That was
He's done
part
a
of
great job.
right. That was part of his campaign was to unite us. I'll be honest with you, and someone like I said, if anybody wants to call in and debate us here, please do. But I have not seen anything whatsoever that this administration or even words have come out of Biden's mouth to unite Americans. All I've seen from him and even mainstream media is more of dividing us and dividing everybody by categories. And if you are a Republican, you're a bad person, especially if you don't agree with Biden administration and you talk against them, or you're doing something like we're doing right now. We got a podcast that's on social media platforms. And actually, I should probably say this before I go any further. It's probably already going to get me in trouble. But folks, let me put this out there real quick. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, as well as Wisdom. Everything that my brother and I are saying are the opinions of ourselves and only that. And the same with the guests that come on our show that talk, call in, or come in through the Wisdom app. It is their opinions and their opinions only. And it is up to you to do this information as you please. But as for our saying, this is for entertainment purposes only. I really want to get that out of the way because that seems to be a nice little blanket for us because we haven't had any issues since we started doing the disclaimer.
Right.
But as I'm going through here, listening to what we're talking about, I want to make sure I get that out of there.
Yeah.
But no, if you really look at it, I have not seen a single thing from this current administration that they're trying to unite people. All I see is more division. I'm seeing them almost every week, especially throughout the midterm elections, running up to the midterm elections, talking smack on anybody who he called ultra MAGA, who talked against them and didn't like their policies, who didn't like their Green New Deals, who didn't like kitty litter boxes in schools. I mean, if you didn't like that, you were a bad person. It's absolutely ridiculous. Or if you're wearing a shirt like I did at the grocery store saying FJB, you're going to get people to confront you. Mind you, you can have differences with people. I get it. I have differences with people all the time. But in the end, we're people. And if we were to cut each other's arms right now, we'd all bleed the same color. We'd all bleed red. We all, if you want to look at the biblical sign point, we all came from God. We're all his children, right? If you're going biblical on it, we're all his children. So we should be getting along. We can have differences. And as Gary said, it's America. And we want to talk about peacefulness, but there is no peacefulness right now when the left is bringing on violence by calling people bad. Let's look at the story there, headlines. I can't remember where it happened, where one guy ran over a teenager, literally hit him with his car because Biden, from his words, said she was ultra MAGA and I had to take care of her. Like it was, he's fucked up in the head. Yeah, he's literally fucked up in the head. But this happened.
So vehicular manslaughter is how you get rid of Republicans?
Yeah, I guess so.
Interesting.
I mean, and the sad part is we got family members calling cops on family members because they're like, oh, they're talking this much about the Biden administration. They're saying such and such. I mean, we're wasting our resources on this. I won't say we're wasting our resources on the FBI because the FBI is a whole nother story. And I think the FBI needs to be wiped out and redone again because there's a lot of crooked shit happening right now in the FBI.
Yeah, well, they're replacing the FBI with the IRS, right? Just to basically fucking make sure every penny that you've ever earned or spent is like minutely watched by the government, donates billions of dollars at a time to money laundering for themselves.
Was it like 85,000 new IRS agents have been hired?
Fucking ridiculous.
And there's word that they're going after people who are, well,
$600 or more, right? Like every transaction, basically.
So like if you make money off TikTok, you PayPal, you sell a couple of things, or maybe you do a couple of yard sale things here and you
you got to pay taxes,
use Venmo or whatever else, and you make more than $600, you're going to have to make sure you pay taxes on that. There's no more hiding any money whatsoever unless you do cash, and cash is oblivious now because who uses cash these days? I barely know anybody who uses cash. Do you, like everywhere you go when you go to the grocery store?
Probably depends on where I'm going. Certain food spots I'll use cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
I barely ever have cash in my wallet, so I'm
Yeah, I
guilty.
do cash at food spots usually because small businesses, food spots, that's usually where I'll do cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's a bunch of other weird stuff that's going on, such as during the forum that Biden was just recently at. Supposedly, I got to find audio clips. So I don't want to go into it too much. Maybe till next week till I look into it. But supposedly, to help with the Green New Deal, a bunch of world leaders were talking about another possible lockdown. You and I were talking about that to help curb the global warming process. And that alone would cause a major stir and a great civil war, because I don't think Americans, even if there was a virus out there that was making bodies drop on the streets every hour, I don't think people are going to stay in their homes anymore. After we've seen these lockdowns, Americans are not going to deal with that anymore.
Hey, look, I think if something has like a real fatality rate, and I mean no disrespect to anybody. There's a handful of people that I knew personally that passed from COVID. Granted, they weren't the beacons of good health. They were all overweight. They all smoked quite a bit. They were all heavy drinkers. They all ate garbage food, which may or may not matter, right? Because I'm not an expert in that kind of shit. But um, I forgot what I was going to say now. God damn it!
you were
Ah,
so you were
what
just
were you,
there.
what were you just what were you just on? What were you just saying?
I was talking about Americans wouldn't stand for another lockdown.
Oh yeah. So even if like I would think that it would have to hit like 30%. I think if 1/3 of the people that got it died, that would be pretty fucking gnarly, right? Then
That
I think people at that point are gonna be like, holy fucking shit. Like now I'm gonna mask the fuck up. Now I'm not going anywhere. I'm not touching anything. That's when it's real. 1%, get out of here.
right.
Because that's 1%, and that's most likely going to be the weak and the old. And again, no disrespect to anybody who lost any family members or whatever. It's just they were probably old and they probably were not healthy. And if you did have that anomaly that happened and there was someone who was healthy, that's an outlier. And that's every thing in life has an outlier. So life is not fair. I'm sorry.
So I just want to do a quick breaking news that just came over 2 minutes ago.
Ooh.
The Republicans win Arizona House seat. It's an inch closer to the majority on the House, so the Republicans may have their chance of taking over the House.
I thought it was already done.
No, it's still going on. Like there's votes still being counted, and that's another problem that we've got going on in our country. Right, there are states that are larger than Arizona, larger than Nevada, that have their votes done that same night. But these states are talking about it could be weeks or even a month before you
Why?
find the results.
Why?
That's their
Why does it
process,
take so long?
because it's their processing time. I don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it wrong, but it's ridiculous. Like this is all right. If you want to talk about how to make people not trust the system,
This is a pretty good way to do it.
this is a damn good way of doing it. Or what happened in Maricopa County, where the machines went down. And there's a location that was dominantly Republicans. The machines all went down, and they were telling people to go to another polling place to cast their votes because the machines were down. Like all this shit. Like, okay, you want people to stop screaming accusations or stop screaming election stolen or election rigged, then the government really needs to sit down on their freaking asses and figure out how to make these machines work properly.
Why? It's working
Wow.
in their benefit.
And
It's supposed to be the people over the government, and the government is corrupt as shit right now. And the people seem to have forgotten that we're supposed to be in control of the government. Right now, the government's pulling all the fucking strings and telling us what to do. That's not their job. And like we've forgotten that, it seems. Because how
right,
the hell do you take the power back? If I just stop paying the taxes, what happens? The government will just go and take it from my actual paycheck. So there's like,
seize your
how do I take that power back?
right. Oh yeah,
So
they'll
how do
seize
we
your
as
bank
the
account.
people take that power back? Right? That's the question.
It is. So as I'm waiting here to see if we get anybody to call us in the show or anything like that to chime in on their interests, let's talk about more of a division. I finally come to an agreement with my mother, and even her words, that from now on, when we have any discussions or anytime I post anything political, she will not post on my Facebook, and vice versa. When she posts on her Facebook, I won't respond to her because I lost it on my mother the other day. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read this because this goes to show you I love my mother to death, but I feel like she has been so soaked up in the mainstream media and everything that's coming out of Biden's mouth that she believes the vaccine. And yes, I'm going to put it out there because this is not fake news, folks. The vaccine, this COVID-19 vaccine that everybody wants to get, is not going to protect you from RSV. Okay. The vaccine has nothing to do with RSV, this new thing. No, it's not new, but this virus that's going around hitting kids. And I made a post about this on Facebook, and I'm going to read the response, and I'm going to read my response. I posted this on Facebook. Respiratory illness at an all-time high. I wonder why. Perhaps because we were told to stay home to save lives, wear a mask, close schools, social distance, sanitize, and mandates, all which only weakened the immune system and caused this problem. Now they want to do it again. I posted that because the RSV is, it's a little rampart, and you wonder why. And everything I said is 100% true. Children's immune systems are broken down. Adults' immune systems are broken down from these shutdowns that we had to deal with. I've seen it in my own kids. My kids had colds back to back like 3 to 4 times. They're finally starting to slow down. Like it was almost every other week they were coming down with a cold. Number one, the main weather sucks right now. It's fucking major bipolar. So we're getting 70-degree days down to 30-degree days. But my kids have gotten extremely sick. And I know it's because their immune systems are broken down. They're weakened from, doing homeschooled and stuff like that for fucking almost 2 years. But when I posted that, my mother, within, I would say 30 minutes, made a comment underneath that post. Mark, you really need to get a grip and stop blaming a certain party for what's going on in the world. Did you ever think that maybe the respiratory illness wouldn't be around if everyone got the vaccine? No, you didn't, because you want to put blame on a party that has no control on this illness. And if so, it's caused because certain people think they're smarter than the experts and not get vaccinated. No one is asking you to stay home now, so you can stop holding on to that for everything that is going on. The majority of the people are fed up. I get it. But how fed up are they? The election that just happened proves who they want to blame, and that's the party you want to protect. I love my mother. I try to fathom, number one, where she said within there where I said anything about any political party. I legitimately made a statement in regards to being locked in, having to stay in our homes, children being homeschooled for X amount of time for their weakened immune systems, and why more children are getting sick right now, even older adults who are getting sicker right now, how their immune system's broken down. You and I had this discussion before. Hell, we talked about this during the lockdowns. So that's that. Now we're coming up to a post that I will have to try reading because I use voice predictive text and it threw some of it in weird jumbo. But I will try to put this out. And folks, please excuse the language. My language does get a little raunchy on this one. I will, matter of fact, hold on one second here. As I'm talking about excuse the language, why don't I help myself out here? I have this new handy dandy button here, and I will definitely use it on this one because I go a little crazy. I will only mute it on certain words. What's that?
Is using the mute?
I will use my beeping sound. Okay. But I'm only on certain words, not all of them. All right. Holy shit, mother. I love you. Why do you think that everything was pointed at a party in this point? Did I say at any point did I say Democrat? No, I don't think so. Unfortunately, yes, I'm going to be a little mean demeanor on this because every time I post something, you automatically think that I'm posting against a certain party. And no, I will not take a vaccine that I do not trust. And that is my decision and my American decision to do so. And no government is going to tell me that I have to take it because that's tyranny right now. Yes, I do believe that the tyrannical government is running the United States. And so does a large amount of people. Ain't you know, it's even more amazing. Not every single one of those people are sucking on Trump's Hell, I don't even really want to run. Want Trump to run next year. I would much rather see Governor DeSantis be the next president of the United States. And if you actually listen to my podcast that I do, you would actually understand that where my political beliefs are, and you'd want to think that I was someone who wants to just suck on. Do I like Trump's policies that he had enacted? Because yes, they were great for America. Yes, I do. Do I think that he was a full blown idiot in the majority of the sometimes? Yes, I do. But my thoughts on the Biden administration is horrible. This new woke that's coming from the Democratic Party is horrible. They are allowing people to have kitty litter boxes inside their bathrooms so children can shit in them because they identify as cats. They are allowing transgender people in the schools and teaching kids about transgenderness. They're allowing kids young as 8 years old to get sex changes and take hormonal medicines to change their sex at 8 years old. There's no reason for that. They do not know that what they are right now. That is absolutely bullshit. You got to start looking at the woke and what's happening within our country. You also got to start looking at mainstream media and your current president, who is causing the great divide and who is calling anybody who speaks against him MAGA. Not everybody who speaks against the Biden administration is MAGA. They're just fed up with the policies and the woke agenda and that this current political party has. That is all. Love you, mother. Have a great night. I didn't say nothing bad. I mean, granted, I put a couple words in there. Maybe I shouldn't have when I'm talking to my mother. But I did. I was pissed. I'm heated because when you automatically speak out against this administration, you're automatically being called a Trump lover. Do you have to love Trump to speak out against Biden? I didn't think so. There's a lot of libertarians out there, a lot of liberals, a lot of independents who don't like Trump, but they definitely don't like Biden either. And that's where we're seeing the biggest divide, right? Because that's who they're blaming. And that's where it's so saddening. And that's why we're seeing so much people getting hate now within the streets, within stores. If you're wearing something that says fuck Joe Biden, people yelling at you like me. I mean, Fox News Citizen Desk projects winner in hotly contested Hobbs Lake, Arizona gubernatorial election governor race. There's another one. I don't know. These breaking news is all coming in. The votes are coming in during our podcast, Gary. All right, let's go with it.
All right, roll with it.
Right. So that was my post there. There was also another one where I talked about the transgender there that won the beauty pageant in Derry, New Hampshire.
God damn. And it's like they just gave that person the victory just because.
Yeah. And that's my feeling on it. I mean, listen, folks, I'm going to put it out there. I have a gay brother. I love him to death. I have nothing against gays. I have nothing against transgenders. I really don't. My biggest problem that I have is allowing transgender women, transgender men, both into sports of the opposite sex that they shouldn't be in.
Give them their own league.
Exactly. That's what I said. Give them their own
Give
league.
them their own beauty pageants. Like, you don't need to be, if you're a trans woman, then you should be in a trans woman pageant. Like, that's just what it is, right? Like, you identify, like, so we just need to, like, I think with this whole trans thing, we just need to come to an agreement of understanding where the terms are, right? Like, like they need to acknowledge that their identity is different than the actual biological measurement of their physical body, right? Like if you were born a male, but you identify as a female, you just need to like admit that you're a male, you're in a male body. Like you may be a female in a male body. And so as a result, there are advantages and disadvantages to that, right?
Right.
So
no, like, give them their own sports team as well. You can't have a transgender man in an MMA fight with a woman. I mean, that poor woman almost died. Like, I saw the pictures, dude. She was wrecked. The legit woman was wrecked, and she could have died.
That shit is dangerous, man.
That should have never happened.
A bunch of women are pregnant in all women prisons because some fucking dude identified as a woman.
And that's another problem. Like there was just a protest in New York about this where I wish I could pull up the video feeds right now. I'm not set up for it, but I was just watching and New York Times was posting about there was just a protest because of that. Men, and it could be you. Say you're freaking getting arrested for something and you're like, fuck this, and you're single, and I want to make sure I'm still getting laid. So you're gonna sit there and say, oh no, you can't throw me in a male prison. I identify as a female. What are they going to contest it? How are they going to prove it? How are they going to prove it? Like they can't, right? You're saying it. Oh, you got to be right. So let's throw you in a female prison. Next thing you know, you're locked up with a female. She realizes you got a fucking dick. She's got a vag. You two get it on. She's getting knocked up. Now you got a woman pregnant in fucking jail. And this is the shit allowing the woke agenda to happen. More and more shit like this going to happen. Look at the poor girl who was raped and sodomized in her school bathroom because of a male student who said he identified as a female, walked right in there and raped a teenage girl.
There's a prisoner that's a trans something or another, male or female, I don't know. But now they are identifying as an infant. And so now they want diapers and they want all of their food pureed and fed to them every day. Yeah.
Where
and again, I don't know if that's, I hope that's parody.
Is this satire?
It's got to be parody. That's got to be parody.
Please tell me that's satire. Yeah, please tell me that's satire. Anybody's got any information on this, please chime in right now. Feel free to call on the show too.
Identifies as a baby. This has got to be fake. This has got to be.
Please tell me that's satire. Read that article.
So November 8th. What's today? 15th or some shit?
Yeah, today's 14th.
14th. So a trans prisoner in Scotland identifies as a baby, demanding diapers, baby food, and being held by prison guards. Frank Parlato is, that's the a known murderer has stated his wish to be identified as a baby in jail by wearing diapers and eating baby food. So just a month before his scheduled release from Scottish prison, Daniel Eastwood murdered his cellmate by shoelace strangulation and was subsequently sentenced to life in prison in 2004. So in 2018, he started identifying as a female, going by Sophie Eastwood. And so they started like going along with that. All right, Sophie. And so now Sophie is 36 years old and says he is a baby. So I guess he's back to being the dude again. So he is now a baby and wants to be treated like one. Also demands that the prison staff puree his food and give him diapers. So
it's not satire, is it?
I don't think so, bro. It looks.
Where's this article coming from?
It's in Scotland.
Scotland's like
the frankreport.com. I have no idea. And then the Gateway Pundit. Again, I don't know anything about any of these. The postmillennial.com.
All right. So I do have a couple people I know I've watched our podcast downs. We do actually have one or two listeners from Scotland. So if anybody that's listening or watching that is from Scotland, please chime in on this. If you've heard this in your local media, I would really like to hear whether this is confirmation or if this is legit satire, because if this is confirmation that this is a legit article, please someone put this person in a psychiatric ward because they are essentially fucked in the head.
Well, no, they're playing the system. Dude's probably mentally ill because he murders people, but he just knows what's going on. So he's just he's gaming the system. And when you start going so woke that every fucking thing you're so quick and reactive to without like having a measured, calculated, like, hey, let's like take a step back. Let's think about what the fuck is really going on here. We need to, this is new territory for society, right? So like identifying as a fucking 12-year-old little baby girl or whatever it is, like you're a grown ass man, you murdered people. You're not a baby. You don't need diapers. Stop being a fucking idiot. But like,
right.
Woke is woke is woke. So
there's a lot of wokeness right now. There's a lot of wokeness within the Democratic Party. Look at OC there. Cortez. That woman.
She's psychotic.
She's majorly psychotic. She was just did an article, a news conference where she was talking about how she's afraid to walk out of her vehicle when she gets home She lives in New York. She has to
Such
have
a
her husband
fucking
come outside.
dumbass.
If she's so much fear of crime, why is she trying to defund the police? If she's so fear of crime, why does she want criminals out on the street? Why does she want criminals who get arrested saying, "Oh, you can get back
She's
out.
just
You don't
playing
need
the
it."
system too. She's just a fucking moron.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
is.
but that doesn't look like it's satire. I think that's real. But yeah, if you're in Scotland,
Please chime in.
please let us know because
Right?
this is bananas.
Absolutely.
This sounds like it'd be going on in fucking
This ain't even U.S. news,
Washington. Or this is like some Portland headline news, but it's happening in Scotland. So let us know what's up.
right?
Some shit I would see around my house.
I mean, folks, listen. I guess the really part of the show is I wanted to talk about the division between my mother and I that we've had right now, a difference of politicalness, where we've come to a conclusion that we cannot talk politics with each other. But also with me being confronted for just wearing a t-shirt, or not a t-shirt, it's a sweatshirt, inside of a grocery store without having someone yell at me and get offended by a t-shirt. When did we as a country become so pussyfied? When did we become so weak that an article of someone's clothing, a sign, a sticker on a car, or words that people post on social media start offending people? When it makes you feel like you need to go cry in your corner or get so angry at the world where you've just got to start lashing out at the people that are wearing it. When did we become as United States? I can only tell you that I remember all the way up even my early 20s that we were never like this.
It
Never.
started in 01, bro. It started with the 9/11 event.
You think it started back in 9/11?
Yes. The 90s were the peak America.
Right.
Right. So everything fucking once 9/11 hit, that's when everything changed. That's when they started peering into everybody's privacy. You lost all privacy now, right? Because this terrorist group from weapons of mass destruction, right? Like it all.
So
right, it's
you
coincidental, but
ended more was back after 9/11.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Oh, would that be when you thinking that America got weak and people got offended?
That's when America broke.
Okay.
That was when America broke.
All right. If anybody else thinks differently, please, like I said, chime in.
Because it was about 20 years ago when the colleges started having safe spaces, and it's when it started. This is 20 years ago when the colleges started getting a little too liberal.
And I don't know. It's sad because I remember if you had differences with someone, you would just sit there and look at each other and say, all right, you know what? We're just not going to talk about it with each other. And if we did, we'd have a civil conversation. And if we realized we were disagreeing still, we just walked away. It was over with. We stopped it. We were still friends. We were still family. We walked away. We lived our lives because in all reality, even with the people, the most woke friggin' ideologies, I don't agree with them. And I will talk shit about it, but it is their opinions and they have every goddamn right to have an opinion just like we do, or at least we used to, because now we're being told that we cannot have opinions. We cannot have thoughts because if our opinions don't agree with the other party, then we're deemed the bad guy. And we need to go back to the ways it used to be where your opinions were yours. And if you had them, you wanted to speak out about them, great, because that was your American right. That's why our men and women died for our country, is for you to have that right. And now I feel like we're spitting on the graves of our dead soldiers right now, because we're walking all over them, because everything they fought for is being erased. Everything they fought for is being laughed upon because there is no more of that in our country. We're watching that being stripped away day in, day out, especially throughout this whole time. That's why, yeah, I am questioning the current election. But I could be absolutely wrong. There could be so many people, Democrats out there that did. Could Trump fucked up this election by speaking the way he did, speaking early? Could he have fucked it up? Could he make people say, oh, shit, no. And that's why we had a bigger turn? I don't know. But do I feel like there was some funny shit that happened from Maricopa County to Pennsylvania, electing friggin' Fetterman, a guy who had a stroke that can barely speak. When he started his speech, he told everybody good night, good morning, and like wanted to end the friggin' speech right then and there. Who doesn't even dress appropriately, wearing holy jeans, and I don't know, like this guy's off the rockers. But you're gonna have me believe that he literally won, or Pennsylvania electing a dead guy, legit dead politician. He was elected, but there was a loophole in that. I found out from a buddy of mine who used to live in Pennsylvania that if a dead politician or a dead person is elected, it is up to the other elected officials to pick who they want to take his place. So that was a loophole. You elect a dead person, and you can pick whoever goes in his place. Ain't that fucked?
Yeah, but some dead guy's not going to get enough votes.
No, he did. He won.
Where?
The dead guy won in Pennsylvania.
Huh.
Yeah. No, it legitimately happened, dude. A dead guy was voted in. He was legit voted in. Hold on. Hold on. Pennsylvania elected dead senator. I believe he was a senator. Hold on. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Oh, fucking Siri's still listening to me. Hold on. Pennsylvania elected dead politician.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please say that again?
Come on, Siri.
Go ahead.
Google Pennsylvania elected dead politician.
I found this on the web.
All right, here we go. Pennsylvania State Rep Anthony DeLuca elected despite being dead. So it was Anthony DeLuca. He was elected. Pennsylvania reelected State Rep Tony DeLuca, who is dead, which is suggested of shoddy election or cheating. And I don't agree with him. I think that's quite messed up. He
was
received
85 years old. He died on October 9th.
Yeah. And as of Wednesday afternoon, DeLuca had received nearly 86% of the votes.
Wow. So who's... Oh, yeah. So that's PA. So that's what's his name, right?
Yeah.
Fetterman or whatever.
Well, no, Fetterman and Dr. Oz was a different race.
Oh.
But there's multiple races. But yeah, he was also within there. But just think about that though. A dead guy, 86% of the vote. How? Like, and you're gonna sit there and wonder why.
That's just the schedule of his death was weird. That's all that is. It was a small town. Everyone voted early.
But in all reality, though, think about that though. How are you gonna sit there and tell people they don't have the right to question elections when you got shit like this happening? Right?
Yeah.
You got stuff like that happening. You got machines going down mysteriously, or there was another state. I can't remember what state, so I'm not going to talk too much on it because obviously I don't want to be labeled as misinformation. But there was another state that the power went out, the cameras got shut off at the voting counting center for 3 hours, and when it came back on, the Democratic Party, the person who's running as Democrat, was in the lead by like a few hundred points. I mean, a few hundred votes. Like there's a lot of stuff that's happening that should make people question, and we have every right to question it. Hillary Clinton did it, folks.
Right.
George W. Bush did it. It's gone on for years upon years. The only reason why it's so big now is because the Democratic Party did not like Trump. So when it was time for Trump to call out to say, wait a minute, I want to fight this, they were pissy, and now all of a sudden fighting it, and you're called an election denier and all this fun jazz. But you never used to be. Did they ever call George W. Bush an election denier? Did they ever call Hillary Clinton an election denier?
If they did, it wasn't like a main argument. It was like quick. It wasn't like anything real.
Right. I mean, it just goes to the fact that if you really want to spew hate, the majority of the hate that we're seeing right now is coming from the Democratic Party, and is even coming from the biggest Democratic leader right now themselves, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is bringing on the most hate in America. And to you Democrats that may be listening, I'm sorry that the truth truly does fucking hurt, but it's absolutely true. And I would love to try to prove me wrong. I've already told you within this show that I would not like to see Trump run again. And I would like to see, DeSantis run or another Republican. But yes, I would never vote for Joe Biden. I never will and never speak up to him against. I definitely will 100% always say fuck Joe Biden because I do not like them and their policies. And I've seen them sit there and call upon me. And Joe Biden will tell you that I'm a MAGA lover. No, I'm not. I don't even think my brother's a MAGA lover. Are you an extreme MAGA, Gary?
I mean, no.
But of course,
I liked a couple of things that Trump was doing. I'm definitely conservative more so than I am a liberal. But I'm far from a MAGA lover.
right? So in our reality, and you guys heard Biden come out literally in press conferences and say that, oh, speaking of press conferences, before we get to the full ending of everything here, so we've already been live for just about an hour. Did you hear Biden say that he would love to see Elon Musk investigated?
He didn't say he'd love to see him investigated.
Well,
he said some of his relationships with the foreign adversaries are worth looking into.
Okay.
But he got pressed on it and he didn't say anything else.
Right. But you just said that, right? He look into foreign whatever. Remember when Jack Dorsey had Twitter and he were allowing terrorists to make tweets showing beheadings on Twitter, literally showing the beheadings on there, videos of it, and the terrorists were posting tweets? If that's the case, why didn't we look into Jack Dorsey and his dealings with allowing terrorists on Twitter?
Well, was Jack Dorsey still the CEO then? He stepped down.
Jack Dorsey was still the CEO then.
Well, I don't know.
Why wasn't Jack Dorsey looked into for all this?
Well, because Jack Dorsey's also not running, Tesla and a rocket company and doing stuff with like NASA and like
Touche.
Elon is like, he's a DOJ guy. He's working with our government. He's doing stuff for NASA. He's creating, Starlink and other.
Right, but I feel like that's still not a reason to investigate him, because he wants freedom.
No, it's not. Absolutely not. But I'm saying, like, if I were to think anybody would be worth looking into, it wouldn't be Jack Dorsey, though.
Right.
It'd be a rocket scientist who has massive plants in lots of countries around the world, and he's creating rockets and electric cars and robots and batteries and Neuralink and AI and that guy, I think. And I like Elon, but but if there was a guy that I'd be watching, it would be him.
Right. Oh,
but I mean, fuck, you shouldn't be watching him. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's an American. So
right. Okay. I see where you're coming at that. Well, once again, we went through our second show without a single phone call or a wisdom person chiming in. I'm getting a little
fuck y'all. Turn in. What the fuck? Come on.
Make the show more interesting, folks. We will be back tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a little more of a fun show. Not tomorrow. More of a fun show next week. I will look through some questions. We'll have a question on the board. Hopefully, we'll get some people to chime in with a question. I will think of something fun for it. We have just recently gone through the midterms. We may have to do a recap. Hopefully, we'll get all the election results in before we go live next Monday. But in all reality, folks, we do, as Americans, do need to stop spreading hate. And I'm talking on both sides. We need to stop being offended over little things, especially shirts, card bumper stickers, what people post on Facebook. We need to look back at what we did back in the old days and really go back that way. We don't need a president to tell us to spread hate like we're currently seeing right now. You start listening to your heart again. Stop listening to mainstream media. Stop listening to freaking Joe Biden. Start looking on the outskirts of things for more news sources versus just mainstream media, because I'm not sure if you realize we have this lovely thing now. It's called the internet.
Huh?
Yeah. The internet, it's this great thing now. It's beautiful.
What does it do?
Like, you actually get fully uncut live videos of protests and stuff like that you can legitimately watch live where they're not tweaking anything. There's no, they just follow people. It's great. So you can actually see what's legitimately happening at that protest and not get the kitty corner stuff or have only bad stuff shown.
Huh.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. That's how I realized that during the BLM riots, that was legitimately Antifa and a bunch of BLM members that were literally trashing the places and burning down buildings. Yeah, there was a few bad apples on the other sides too. Don't get me wrong. But you saw mostly Antifa and BLM members looting these businesses. But I'm just
I
saying,
almost feel like all those groups are all the same fucking people.
right? They're all the same. No, look, Antifa, BLM, even the Proud Boys. Listen, I'll call it the Proud Boys too for what they are.
I
They're a
feel
bunch
like
of
they're all the
drunken
same
mor-
group. I think they all answer to Jeff. And I think
Is it-
Jeff says we placed pallets of bricks on these locations. Go and wreak havoc, both of you guys. And I think Jeff is in charge of both parties. And I think Jeff is a fucking prick.
You may need a tinfoil hat after that one, my brother.
I'm,
No, I 100% agree with you, man. I mean, the world is fucked. It literally is, and I don't know how much time we all have left on it here in America. I really don't. I am scared to see what's going to happen over the course of the next 2 years. I'm scared to see if the Democrats do take over the House, which I'm really hoping they don't. What we could see, what kind of policies, how much more people are going to freeze in their homes over this winter time because they can't afford oil, how many more Americans are going to starve because they can't afford to feed their families, how many more businesses are going to have to let go of their employees because they just can't simply run their business and feed their families themselves and pay employees. Like, we're going to see this happening. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. It will get better. It will get better, but when is the question? But we are, like Joe Biden said a long time ago, we're in for a cold winter.
that sounded very Bush-like.
Right? It did. But we're in for a cold winter, man. And it's legit true. We are in for a cold winter. We're going to see a lot of Americans freeze. We're going to see a lot of house fires because people are going to find alternative sources to heat their homes from the little K1 heaters. Remember those?
Yeah, the little kerosene heaters.
To people inappropriately hooking up pellet stoves. Maybe they did it wrong. People using the electric heaters. We're going to see a lot more house fires over this winter. I know it. We're going to see it here in Maine. Hell, we're going to see the fuel assistance programs in New England and other places being tapped dry this year because people are trying to do it. But then here's another fucked up part thing. Inflation's at an all-time high. Don't let anybody tell you any different. But you could be somebody currently right now that makes $70,000 to $80,000 a year, maybe $100,000 a year, but you're legitimately hurting right now. You're living paycheck to paycheck because of the way the inflation's going, and you go apply for assistance because you legitimately need it now. Assistance is going to turn you around and say, I'm sorry, we can't help you because you make too much. Because here's where the government says that they're trying to help you, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're not updating their tables on the on how much a person should be making yearly in order to get help. That table right now should be increased because it's legitimately true, folks. If you make $100,000 a year right now and you've got a family of 4, you're making probably about, or you're living the lifestyle of someone who's making $36,000 a year.
If you've made 50 grand over the last 5 years, right? Like say 5 years in a row, you're getting paid $50,000 a year. You're actually getting paid 10, 15% less.
It's absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Like you're making like $40,000 a year.
Right. So what does that mean? What does that mean? If you get denied assistance because you can't get the help, your finances are hurting. Now, mind you, there's people underneath you too that are hurting even worse. What's that going to turn around into? What are we going to see more in our country of? We're going to see more crime. Hell, I wonder. You got Maine. Has anybody ever heard of a complete gang shootout in Maine? Has anybody ever heard of a complete gang shootout in Maine? I wonder if I can pull this up real quick. Hold on.
I mean, I would assume like maybe in like Portland, like downtown Portland.
Not even like this, man. This was like 30 rounds popped off.
Was that the one that you showed me?
Yeah.
That was a shitload of rounds.
That was a shit ton of rounds. So mind you, okay, it took the news, legit mainstream media. This is, of course, when elections, right? When elections were just starting to end, when the shooting happened. Mainstream media took 28 hours to post anything about this.
Usually they're pretty damn quick. Shots fired 40 minutes ago at this place.
Exactly. Like
gang shootout an hour ago, not 28 hours.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play an audio file for everybody. because obviously you can't see the video. I'm going to play the audio. What you're going to hear is gunfire. This happened in Biddeford, Maine. Okay, a small town. Well, it's a medium-sized town in the state of Maine. It's in between Portland and Ogunquit, or more like Old Orchard Beach,
Just southern
Maine.
Maine. Southern Maine.
All right, so I want you guys to listen to the sounds. It takes a second. You'll hear it go off here in just a sec here. Let me turn it up here so you can hear it. You're going to hear the first round pop in just as shortly, and then listen to the rounds, how they come in consecutive afterwards. Hopefully the audio works. Wait for it. It does take a second. Like right now, when I'm watching it, I can see the individual running. There's one. Get ready for it. That was the first gunshot. You're going to think you're in the streets of Iraq.
Pretty loud.
Is it? The car, the getaway car, drove off without even speeding. If you watch this video, the car literally just drove off nice and slow, went around a corner and drove off casually, dude. You saw a couple individuals in that video. They run off into the corner and they kind of run down like this little hill that's on, because there's a side road on that street. They kind of ran down there. The sad part is when the images started coming out, because there's a community page, right, on Facebook.
Anybody hurt in that?
So here's the thing. I want to say this right now. To the people that did the shooting, congratulations. Y'all suck ass at shooting. Y'all might want to go to a shooting range because you all got the award for sucking ass at shooting. I'm going to say that publicly because not a single person now, according to the mainstream media. So here's the thing. I don't know. Mainstream media is saying no one was hurt, no one's injured, no one's killed. Somebody on the forums that lives within that area says one person's killed, one in critical condition.
Whoa, what?
Well, yeah, that's what one person that lives in that area has said that they heard. Mind you, it's hearsay, right? Mainstream media took 27 hours to post anything and said the story's still developing. That's all they have. Person that lives out there, we saw before 27 hours is in. I called out the mainstream media and said, why the hell are you not posting this and stuff like that? I made a tweet about it. But now on the Facebook, there's over 200 comments on this, on the original thread for this. And they posted this, mind you, on WGME 13, which is a local news channel here in Maine. The thread started on their page, and it still took them 27 hours to post anything about this. So the thread started on there by a watcher, and it kept going. The video was posted on there. Someone posted pictures of their vehicle showing the bullet holes going through the side view mirror on the side of the car, bullet holes in the side of the building. Mind you, my heart dropped when I saw children toys on the side of that building. Like my heart dropped, like, holy fuck. Like I was living in that building, that many rounds went off. Like, fuck.
That'd be terrifying, to be honest.
Right? Yeah. Knowing that friggin' somebody up there is watching out for you and your family if nobody got hit. Right.
Right.
But yeah, that's insane. But it's sad to say, I see more of that coming to more towns where you don't expect it to be happening. I see a lot more of that coming. Number one, because of the open borders that we have here in the United States, because of the amount of drugs that are coming into our country from other countries being smuggled over from the Mexico side of the border, because that's where it's all nice and open, and Biden and Kamala just welcome them all into America saying, come on in, come on in. You get everything free you want and bring in all the drugs you want. We're going to hire 86,000 IRS agents and not bring on any more Border Patrol agents. So we got that going on. Then on top of that, you got people that are hurting from money to try to figure ways to feed their families. So we're going to see more stores, more banks being robbed, more people shoplifting from stores, stealing food, stealing whatever they can to feed their family. Or we're going to see more people breaking into electronic stores and stuff like that, stealing all these electronics, turn around, trying to flip them out on places like Facebook, Craigslist, and stuff like that to make money to feed their family. Crime rate's going to go up. Crime rate's not going to go down. We're going to see a huge spike in crime rate. People's cars are getting broken into left and right more than I've ever seen, especially in my town, like posting on Facebook. Cars are being stolen, going to chop shots. more drug dealer interactions are coming to the state of Maine. I've seen all the time. Unfortunately, people in Massachusetts, we love you, but we do understand there's a lot more drugs in Massachusetts. We're seeing a lot more pimped out vehicles, I'm going to say, coming up to Maine, and Massachusetts plates coming in and leaving real quickly. But that's my own state. I'm not going to get into my own state. But as far as our country
Yeah, but
goes,
hey, man, my street and where I live, there's all sorts of fucking weird shit going on here, man. Like Saturday morning or Sunday morning, there was like 5 cop cars patrolling my neighborhood.
no shit.
And I live in like a pretty good, I live on a cul-de-sac, dude. Like I live on like a really decent little area. And yeah, they were camped out for a little while. They were going up and down the streets. They were like they were doing something. They were around for a minute.
And the other sad part is that we're going to see is we're going to lose. I hate to say it, but we're going to see a lot more murder suicides.
Probably.
Suicides. We just had 2 of them. Well, 2 attempts and 1 actual happened. Give me 1 second. I guess my daughter's locked out. Are you locked out? Hold on 1 second. My daughter's locked out of her room. Out of the house. Hold on 1 sec. The moment your kid comes home from work. Okay. So what I was trying to say is in here in Maine, we've already had 1 person who tried to shoot his wife, shot her in the shoulder. She was able to get out of the house and then shot himself, killed
God
himself.
damn.
Up in northern Maine, we had 2 instances where people were held hostage at gunpoint, but the cops were able to get them out.
What part of northern Maine?
One was in Madawaska, and the other one I can't remember where.
Really?
Like these, right? And you got to
I
think.
used to live up near Madawaska.
Really?
I was in Van Buren, dude.
That's right. Yeah. So, but think about that. Think of Van Buren, think of Madawaska, right? You've got a bunch of country living folks up there, right?
Tiny little town.
Right? You would never think like something like that would happen. But when you start hurting financially and you're having a hard time providing for your family,
yeah,
depression kicks in like a real motherfucker. And what happens when you get depressed, right? A lot of people, if they feel like they have nowhere to turn, nowhere to go, no route, in their head, they feel like the only way they can do is to take their own life. And that's sad. But unfortunately, it's the truth and it's scary. And I feel like we're going to see more of that. Like, I'm scared for our country. I'm scared for our children, for what we're raising them up into right now. All we can do is teach our children how to speak their mind and try to get them back to the old days a little bit. You know, some of the new days are great, but a lot of the old ways worked and never should have been changed. But I really don't have much for people other than stay strong out there and really just keep an eye on things, because not everything that's on mainstream media, not everything that comes out of Joe Biden, hell, I don't think anything comes out of Joe Biden's mouth is true right now, but
no, hasn't been.
Don't believe everything you see. Definitely do your own research. There's plenty of ways out there, you know. There's more podcasts out there. There's more stuff. If you do your own research, you can come up with your own conclusion on a lot of things. Hell, don't even believe mainstream media on your local news anymore.
No, turn off the news, go outside, go be in your local community, go talk to people and buy a lot of ammo.
Right. Exactly. I got plenty of rounds.
No, you don't. You need more.
I probably do. When you think you got plenty, buy another case. But no, in all reality, though, folks, listen, you can even get along with your neighbors who disagree with you on a political point. You just got to learn that sometimes just don't let that political divide you. You understand that maybe you can't talk political with them. Just don't do that. You can still have a beer with them, shoot the shit. I bet you they like playing pool.
Totally.
I bet you they love playing pool. I bet you they
probably like the same kind of movies too, you know, right? Probably got the favorite band that's the same.
Hell, I'll be honest. I took down my "Fuck Joe Biden" flag, the one I had flying out in front of my house.
Okay, why?
Why? Because I've seen little kids and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll wear my clothing, but I saw kids walking their parents and stuff like that. And, you know, I thought about it. I figured my house maybe is not a place for protest. On myself, yes, because I can kind of explain it, or I can make up something funny if a kid ever asks me. But as far as,
Seems like having just the American flag out these days is enough protest.
I
as
do.
it
I have
should
an American
be.
flag. Actually, my American flag's made by combat veteran flags. It's actually a flag with
Made in
the
the USA, right?
yeah, made in the USA, and it's actually got the Air Force and Navy colors. So it's not your normal red, white, and blue. It's actually and it's made with their old I believe it's made with their old uniforms. It's great, and a portion of their money goes to veteran organizations. So yeah, that's the
Good.
flag that's out in front of my house.
Good.
But yeah, and I even took down. I had my black flag. I had my black flag for a while flying. I took down my black flag. I put up the fuck Joe Biden flag, and then I recently took that down. I said, you know what? No, let me just keep my American flag up. I'm going to call it good on that. And I try to make good with my neighbors because your neighbors at some point, if shit ever does hit the fan or whatever it is, we're going to
Should
need
hope everybody's got each other's back, right?
we're going to need our neighbors. We really are. And we need to figure out how we can unite ourselves. And I've said it before in videos. There ain't a fucking president in this world. There ain't a damn politician in this world that's going to unite any of us. Not a single one. The only people that are going to be able to unite us is us ourselves. In order for us to do that, we need to come to a common ground and realize that it's okay to have differences. It's okay to have different opinions. It's okay to live different types of lives. And as long as if your friend don't like it, you don't have to bring it up with each other. You can talk about other shit. There's other stuff you get along with. And that's how we get along. That's how we deal with things. That's how we can progress and how we can move forward. But until we realize that, if all we're going to do is argue and banter with each other, we're never going to progress. We're never going to move forward. We're always going to go backwards. So when people chant, yeah, all lives matter, white lives matter, black lives matter, the one true answer is every life fucking matters. And until we can realize that and realize that there is no color, there's no color whatsoever, we're never going to go back. We're never going to go forward because everybody is fucking human. I never judge a single person by their color because I can give two shits what their color is. If they are a decent person, they're decent in my book. If they're an asshole or a complete dick, then yeah, they're an asshole and a dick, and I'm not going to talk to them. We're going to go our different ways. And everybody's got their own asshole and dicks in every aspect of life. Every friggin' walk of life, every color of life, every nationality, everybody's got them. But we got more people that are really nice. We just got to figure out how to open up and talk to them and have that conversation. Stop judging people by their colors. And I don't care. You can call me racist. You can call me transphobic or anything like that. I don't give a two flying shits. But that's the truth. Start waking up. Start going back to, well, here, I'll go biblical. Love thy neighbor. That was in the book. Love thy neighbor. I'm sorry, folks. If I say biblical, I am Catholic, but I don't practice my religion. But I do believe there is a higher power out there. I do know that I got a lot of people who are biblical on that listen to me over on Wisdom. But yeah, there's too much hatred in this world. And the only way we can realize to fix this hatred is to realize that we're all human. We need to realize that there is no color. And once we can realize there's no color and that it's okay to agree to disagree, we'll do a hell of a lot better, folks. That's all I have to say. Brother, got anything?
That's good, man.
I ended that on a good note. All right. With that being said, folks, I hope you all have a phenomenal Monday and the rest of your work week. It is only Monday. Damn. So much more work week left. Hope you all have a great time. Take care. Appreciate y'all tuning in. And as always, if you want to be on the show, email me on air at themarkgshow.com. And I don't know why I'm saying that. That's why I have a little button to push.
You've been listening to the Snowflake Melter, the Mark G Show. Mark is your everyday hardworking business owner that loves America, and he certainly doesn't mind telling it like it is. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. To send an email, it's on air at themarkgshow.com. And find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Mark G Show. See you next time.